people usually tell us to go back and bargain for salary raises after probation time or after working for 1 year or 2 years with a company, but no one tells us how. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys on how I managed to ask for a salary raise, and I actually succeeded. This week, I managed to convince my boss that I am worth a salary raise, and my salary got increased from 4,000 euros to, and I'm going to be giving you tips how you could also ask for a salary raise. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys in details how I composed everything, like starting with the email that I wrote, the first email that I wrote to ask for an appointment, and also giving you a view on what I talked about during my salary bargains. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Leila. For the new people here, I'm a nurse here in Germany, and I do teach English part-time in a nursing school. And in my free time, I do come onto YouTube here to talk to you guys about nursing here in Germany. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I managed to bargain for my salary increase from 4,000 euros to 4,200 euros, and even being promised a better salary starting with next year. So I'm going to be telling you the whole story, how it went down, so that maybe if you are already in the ausbildung, or if you are already here in Germany working as a nurse, maybe you can get an idea of how you can also ask for a salary raise. Because most of the times we hear people telling us that it's very important after your probation time or after working for a company for 1 year or 1.5 or 2 years that you should go back and bargain for a salary raise. Because as we all know, here in Germany, most times here in the nursing sector, we do not automatically get our salaries raised just like that. We usually have to go and ask for the salary raise ourselves. So if you start working for a company, they will give you a starter salary, and if you do not go back and make an appointment with your boss to ask for a Lohnanpassung, they will not contact you, and you will be working while earning the starter salary for all that period. So it's very important as a nurse in Germany to know how to go about it when it comes to asking for a salary raise. And that's why I decided to share my experience and to share the way I did it, so that you can get also an idea of doing it. And of course, if you are not yet a nurse and in the ausbildung, maybe you can save this video for later on, because once you start working as a nurse after the ausbildung, you might also as well need to go back and bargain after the probation time. Or for the people who are hoping to come to Germany, maybe you will also need this video once you come into Germany and then start your nursing career. So I'm not going to be talking too much. I think I have explained that, and we're going to go now and proceed. I'm going to try a lot to talk in English and not mix with German. But as you all know, it's very difficult sometimes if you talk two languages that you end up mixing both languages. I'll be trying to also translate whatever I talk in the German language to translate it in the English language, entweder like either on the through text or like repeating it for you guys in English, because I realized most of the times I make a lot of mistakes in the language. Like I do mix English and German, and then it takes me a lot of time when editing, and that's the reason why I'm not even posting so often, because for me the editing takes the biggest time. It takes a lot of time because I have to cut out the German words and include a lot of English. And then at the end, I realized that just for editing, I've used maybe like 12 hours. So I'm trying to avoid that so that my editing time doesn't exceed 12 hours. So when asking for salary raise, I realized that it's very important that you do it in person. Like instead of writing an email to your boss and being like, okay, hello, so I would need a salary raise because of this and this. It's better you do it the other way around. Like you write an email and then ask for an appointment to talk about the salary, because in that way, if you are there in person, then you can also bargain better and also express yourself better. So, and also they take you more serious, because if you're just writing everything like on digital, they might be like, no, at the moment we're not giving a salary raise because your salary is pretty high, But if you say, let me book an appointment with a boss, then when you go there in person, you also have time to like prepare yourself of the things that you want to erwähnen, and like the things that you want to disclose, why you are worth a salary raise. So most of the times people do say it's important, yes, go and ask for salary raise. No one will ever say the steps, like write like this, the email should look like this, or the step 1, you should include this in the email, or like when you go and sit on the table with your boss, this is what you should say. No one prepares you for that. All they just say is that do ask for salary raise, and they never explain it. Now, for my side, I would really appreciate it if someone had told me exactly how to do it, because it's very difficult to figure it out. More so if you are a foreigner and German is not your first language, it's very difficult to come up with the right words, because of course in English you will express yourself better. And then if you just directly translate the English words into the German language, the words might not connect as you would want them to connect. And then you might end up sending that email and the boss is like, what do they want from me? Like, they might not take you serious. It could be at A1 or A2 level kind of sentences that you have built up, and that's already a red flag for them to just convince you that you're not worth a raise, So it's very important to know how to do it, and I'm going to be reading you the text that I wrote, and maybe from there you can also have an idea of how you can write it. Of course, I'm going to read the text that I wrote in English. I've translated it in English so that you can also know what it meant, or so that you know how it would look like. Like, you shouldn't go and be like, hello, I would need a salary raise because I have worked for you for 1.5 years. No, that's not how the text would look like. But you could write it like this, for example. Let me read. So I said, hello, so-and-so. I will not say the name. I would like to arrange an appointment with you because I would like to talk about my salary. Now, you realize in this sentence, I did not say I would like to talk about my salary raise. I said my salary. Okay? So then it goes on. I have been with you for almost 1.5 years now, and I have rarely been sick. And then it goes on. I said, I have also stepped in from time to time when it was necessary. Stepped in, I meant einspringen. Einspringen is like when they call you during your free time, during your days off, to ask you if you can step in because a colleague is sick or because a colleague's child is sick. That is like stepping in, yeah? And then it goes on. I also finance my training to become a nursing expert, which I am currently doing. And then my conclusion sentence was saying, could we arrange an appointment for that? I would be very happy. So you realize in this text that I wrote, I never said salary raise. I said I would like to talk about my salary. And then I highlighted the reasons why I would like to talk about my salary. Now, point 1, I think it's very important that you do not say, I would like to talk about my salary raise, because that sounds a little bit more aggressive. You would rather say, I would like to talk about my salary, because in that way they do not know what is your goal. Like, is it like your salary is too little, or your salary is too much, or your salary, here you are not being so specific. That means they cannot just say no, because they don't know where you're heading to, So, and because of this good text, she decided to give me an appointment, and she said, okay, when do you have time? And I told her I would have time between this time and this time. And then we made an appointment together. Now, for me, it was already like a positive reply, because if she wasn't willing to talk about my salary, I mean, what would be the reason why I want to talk about my salary? Sincerely speaking, it's because I want my salary to be raised, And that's the reason why I also highlighted the good things that I have been doing, like einspringen, like turning up for work when people fall sick. Also, I said that I am doing a further studies, which I am completely financing by myself. And of course, if you are not doing a further studies, that's also not a reason why you shouldn't ask for a salary raise. I mean, working for a company for more than 1.5 years is already a reason for you to ask for salary raise, because you should not work on that beginner salary for all that long, So if you are outside there and you're working in a care home or in a hospital and your salary is not being raised, I would advise you to look up and see what things you have been doing for this company so that you can ask for salary raise. Your experience as working for the company for 1.5 or 1 year is already something, or passing your probation time is already something. And also, if you have been having less sick days, for example, for the whole year you've been only 1 week sick, that's already something to show, because people here usually get sick. Like, you'll see workers falling sick half of the whole year and they will never be at work. And it's already a good thing if you are that worker who is rarely sick. So that's already a point that you should include when you are writing your text to book your appointment with your boss when going to ask for a salary raise. I hope I'm making myself clear about this. I want to talk a little bit mindfully so that I do not make a lot of mistakes with the German language and the English language, but I hope I'm on the right track. So after making that appointment with my boss, that day came. And if you watch my community post, you must know that that day was this week and it was on Tuesday. So I would also want to say I really urge you guys to also watch and read my community posts, because most times I share a lot of information down there too. Okay, let's carry on. So I went on to my appointment and I was really anxious because I did not know if it was going to go the way I was hoping for it to go, So I reached there and I had prepared myself what I'm going to be talking about, but everything went out of my head once I entered the offices. So my company offices are 1.5 hours away from where I'm staying, So I asked my boyfriend to drive me there because I did not want to drive myself, and then once I get disappointed and then drive myself back, like that would be eine Herausforderung, like that would be a challenging thing, because with a disappointment I wouldn't want to drive myself back home. Like I really needed this salary raise unbedingt, because I was really not earning the money that I thought I was deserving, and if the company was to give me a no, I would be really disappointed. And that's why I asked my boyfriend to drive me, because I don't know if I could handle it if they had given me a no or a raise that wasn't meeting my type of raise that I was hoping to get, Now I reached there, and like I said, everything had run out of my head. I was so anxious, and they asked me if I want a coffee. I said yes. They gave me a coffee, and my boss took time to come, And in this time, when she was still taking her time, I decided to Google and see what is the actual salary, the current salary of nurses who are working in intensive care, in home intensive care. So actually I would have done that the days before, but I forgot. So I Googled, and thank God, I got a link where it was listed that nurses who are working in my sector are getting between 3,800 euros up to 4,700 euros. So because I already have a basis course and I already have a 3-year experience, my salary was supposed to be in the middle. And the middle salary that they were saying was 4,200 euros, So they said the mittleres Gehalt for the nurses who are working in my sector is supposed to be 4,200 euros. And because I was earning 4,000 euros, I already saw that, okay, now my goal is to get minimum 4,200 euros. But initially, the money that I wanted to ask for was 4,400 euros because I'm doing also a further course. So my boss came in and we talked a little bit, and she was like, so Leila, how are you doing? And I was like, I'm doing fine. How is work? I asked her, how is work? And then she said, yeah, it's like this and this. And then she asked me, and you, how is work? I talked about everything. Like I narrated a story to her, how difficult my work is. Now, when she asked me how is work on my side, I made sure that I talk about the challenges that I face. Because in this moment, if you talk about the challenges that you are facing during your work, she will know that the work you're doing is not just a piece of cake. You have challenges and you are doing your best to thrive through, Of course, my work also has positive things, but in this case, because I'm aiming to get a salary raise, I had to talk about the challenges. So this is something to learn for you guys. If you want to get a salary raise, during the conversation with your boss, do not go and say, oh, my workplace is good, alles ist so einfach. Don't only give an impression that everything is easy peasy, because doing that, you will not be able to get to the goal that you want. Make sure you talk about the challenges, because that's what brought you here. If the work is so easy, you wouldn't be wanting a salary raise, And also, if the boss doesn't come to that point of asking you, wie geht's dein Arbeit oder sowas, then you should be the one to talk about, bring it into the conversation. You should be the one to talk about it. Be the one to bring it up. You be the one to ask your boss, for example, you can ask her, wie läuft der Arbeit? And then if you ask that, automatically they ask you back. So if you ask them how their work is doing, of course they will ask you how your work is doing too. And then you can come to that point where you can talk about the challenges that you have, okay? And also one other thing that I noticed that is good during those conversations is that you also talk about how much you have learned during the 1.5 years that you are working for them, or during that probation time. Talk about how much you can do things on your own without asking someone to do it for you, because you cannot do it. For example, if you came as a person who did not know how to fix a trachea cannula, then talk about how you have learned how to do that and how you are doing it on your own right now. Or if you are someone who came in and you didn't know how to take care of wounds, or how you did not know how to fix an IV, or you didn't know how to give like injections, or you were someone who needed a lot of help with the documentation, filling in things in the computer when you get like not-file situations, maybe like when a patient dies, you did not know what to do. If that was you back then, and right now you do all those things on your own, talk about that. Talk about how you have improved a lot during that 6 months probation time, or during that 1 year you have been working for them. Talking about that will already give you points showing that you are worth the raise. In her mind, you will be actually indirectly communicating that you are not the person that she employed back then. You are way improved and better with your work right now. You are not only worth the beginner salary, but worth a middle salary, mittleres Gehalt, you know. And also one thing that you could do during this conversation is to show your boss how much you are invested in learning new things, you know. So for my case, for example, during this conversation, I knew that there is a patient coming in, a new patient that was going to be coming in, and this patient is staying like near my home, actually 8 minutes away from where I'm staying. So I was telling my boss that maybe I can go and work 20% by her, because I would like to learn new things, you know. So she was like, okay, that's really nice. You're still young, and of course it would be nice if you keep on learning and learn new things and not just staying on the same thing. So she was like, if the patient comes in, we shall let you know, and maybe you can go 2 days and help out there while you work also at your old patient's place. So it's also important to show that you are a person who is very invested in learning new things. Yeah, show that you have a drive to improve yourself every time you get a chance. So just to summarize it for you guys, if you are going to be asking for a salary raise and you are writing the first email to your boss to book an appointment with her or to ask an appointment with her, do not say, I would like to make an appointment with you to talk about my salary raise. You say, I would like to book an appointment with you to talk about my salary. And then include those things that you want to also disclose. And then when you finally go to that appointment, that one-on-one appointment, first inform yourself in internet how much salary the nurses are earning currently. Because for me, what I gave in my internet was to search for salary for nurses working in ambulante home intensive care 2024. That's what I gave in, because normally if they increase the salaries for nurses, your work will not inform you most of the times, you know, but you can find that information in internet. Once you get this information of how much the nurses are getting, you can already see how much you are supposed to be getting according to your experience. So that would really help you a lot if you search in internet salaries for Pflegefachkräfte working in a hospital or salaries for Pflegefachkräfte working in a care home 2024. Once you read that, use that as something to reflect on. Do not show it. Of course, you do not need to show it to your boss when you're sitting there with her. Just tell her, I did my research, because that's what I also said. I told my boss that because she told me, yeah, Leila, you came because you wanted to talk about the salary. And I said, yes, I wanted to talk about my salary because I did some research too. And I told her, correct me if I'm wrong. I read that the mittleres Gehalt für Pflegekräfte working in ambulante Pflege ist zwischen 4.200 und es kann sogar höher gehen bis 4.700 je nach Erfahrung. Und dann habe ich ihr gesagt, dass als ich bei euch angefangen habe, ich hatte schon Vorerfahrung of 1.5 years, and since I'm working with you already 1.5 years, now it makes 3 years of experience. And then I told her, es wäre sehr gut, wenn ich eine Gehaltsanpassung bekomme. And then actually she asked me how much money I would like to get. And then just so openly, I told her, ich würde glücklich sein mit 4.400. And then she told me, okay. Und wie viel bekommst du jetzt? And then I told her, ich bekomme 4.000 Euro. And then she told me, okay, ich gucke für dich. And then she put in some things in the phone. I don't know, she used the phone to see if it's worth it. And then she told me, yeah, actually you are getting less money with your experience. Ich kann dir eine Gehaltserhöhung anbieten. And then she told me how much she's giving me. And then she told me starting with next year, she will also increase my salary after my further studies. And I was like, perfect. That's nice. So I would pretty say the conversation with my boss really went well, because if you are a Nancy in Germany with experience, you should already know that having this conversation about the salary doesn't really go that easily well. Most times you might say, okay, I want a salary raise maybe from 24 euros to 26 euros. You go and ask for salary raise, and your boss tells you, in this year we cannot raise the salary, maybe next year you can make an appointment again, or they can tell you we can increase with 50 cents. Like, seriously speaking, what is 50 cents? But I kid you not, such situations really do exist. So if you are a nurse in Germany, you have to prepare yourself for everything. And actually my plan B was, if I wasn't going to be getting this salary raise, my plan B was to also maybe start applying somewhere else and see what they are offering me. But since I got a salary raise that I wanted, and they even promised me a higher salary than that next year, I think I'm just going to stay where I am and see how 2025 goes for me. But I hope my experience has now drawn a picture for you guys on how you can ask for a salary raise too. So if you have any questions, just comment them down below and I will try to answer them. So because now I have finished sharing my experience, I would also want to answer one question that someone had left on my previous video. So someone asked me to talk about the topics that we learned during my nursing ausbildung. So just to be clear, guys, I studied Altenpflegefachkraft, that's geriatric nursing. And during that time where I was doing my nursing ausbildung, we learned a lot about chronic diseases. So we learned a lot about Demenz, we learned about Lungenerkrankungen, and we learned about Atemwegerkrankungen, and then we learned about other diseases like obstipation, or we learned about how are they called, Gefäßerkrankungen. I don't know, I'm going to try to übersetzen, to translate that for you guys in English so that you can know what I'm talking about. And also, if you want to do nursing ausbildung, I have a book that I made a photo of, because I was on Tuesday I was at the school to teach English, and luckily, because right now it's November, they have the new students doing 1 year ausbildung, nursing ausbildung, the Pflegehelfer ausbildung have already started, and I got a chance of seeing the books that they are using in school to teach them. So I'm going to be tagging the book here so that maybe you can go and see if you can find the book online so that you can be preparing yourself. So if you are a person who is doing FSJ and you are hoping to join nursing, I think these books will be the perfect books for you to be preparing for your nursing ausbildung, because these are the books that they are using. I was there in the school, and the school had prepared each table with these books, for the students that are new in the ausbildung. So further talking about the topics that we learned during my nursing ausbildung, we learned a lot about Pflege documentation, and we learned about Rechtkunde. But for someone who is wanting to prepare themselves, I would advise you to learn about the anatomy, and also to learn about the parts of the inside parts of the human body. And maybe you can also learn about diabetes. Diabetes is a good tema that they usually start with. Even in the first year, you will start with diabetes. learn about everything with diabetes, type 1, type 2 medicines, insulin, and learn about the signs, the symptoms. And also the other thing that we learned about was the diseases of the joints. We learned about rheuma, we learned about arthritis, those diseases, and osteoporosis, like diseases of the bones. So if you want to prepare yourself, that's also an area to look at. So I would like to say, if you are someone who is already here in Germany, maybe doing au pair or FSJ, or even if you are not here in Germany, you can just go to the library or use internet. There are online books you can buy and then start reading about those things. And if you are already in Germany, the library card costs only €5. Get a membership so that you can borrow books from the library and read through and bring them back. Read through and bring them back. Or you can also do your research with ChatGPT. So if you just want to prepare yourself about the Ausbildung so that you get a bit of know-how on the diseases or on things, you can start there. You can start with ChatGPT or go to the library and read about those diseases. And yeah, so if you are not yet so weit, like if you are not yet in the Ausbildung and you think you have time to do that preparation and prepare yourself about certain things, I would say you should do that. It will really help you a lot. Anyways, I would say that's it for today's video. I love you guys so much. Do not forget to subscribe, share, and like this video, and comment if you have any questions that you would like me to answer. Until next time, bye.